The first issue is the sexual abuse. Abuse is defined as to ill use, to misuse, or to insult. Adults use children to meet their own sexual needs and gratification. This includes intercourse, oral sex, and fondling. Also, the showing of or taking part in pornographic pictures or videos. Sexual abuse or assault, as defined in the Sexual Assault Prevention and Response Program Manual, is intentional sexual contact characterized by use of force, threats, intimidation, and abuse of authority, or when the victim does not or cannot consent. Sexual abuse or assault includes rape, forcible sodomy, and other unwanted indecent contact. Example is kissing against another person's will. That is aggravated, abusive, or wrongful, to include the unwanted and inappropriate sexual contact or attempts to commit these acts. The physical indicators of this act are itching or pain in the genital area, vaginal discharge, infection, anal bleeding, and pregnancy. And also, its behavioral indicators are eating disorders, fear of someone, changes in attitude, self harm or suicide attempts, and becomes aggressive. Child sexual abuse is a form of child abuse in which a child is abused for the sexual gratification of an adult or older adolescent. It includes direct sexual contact, the adult or otherwise older person engaging in indecent exposure of the genitals, female nipples, etc., to a child with intent to gratify their own sexual desires or to intimidate or groom the child, asking or pressuring a child to engage in sexual activities, displaying pornography to a child, or using a child to produce child pornography. The effects of child sexual abuse include shame and self blame, depression, anxiety, post traumatic stress disorder, self esteem issues, sexual dysfunction, chronic pelvic pain, addiction, self injury, suicidal ideation, borderline personality disorder, and propensity to revictimization in adulthood. Child sexual abuse is a risk factor for attempting suicide. Much of the harm caused to victims becomes apparent years after the abuse happens. Sexual harassment. Harassment is conduct, gestures, or comments which are insulting, intimidating, humiliating, hurtful, malicious, degrading, or otherwise offensive to an individual or group of individuals and which create a hostile or intimidating environment for work or sports activities or which negatively affect performance or work conditions. Sexual harassment is a form of prohibited harassment. It is defined as unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and other verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature when submission to such conduct is made either implicitly or explicitly a term or condition of an employment. Examples of sexual harassment are verbal comments, obscene or sexuality explicit media contact, nonverbal actions, physical touching, and unwanted requests to perform sexual acts or sexual favors. Sexual harassment may occur in a variety of circumstances in workplaces as varied as factories, school, and academia. Often, but not always, the perpetrator is in a position of power or authority over the victim due to differences in age or social, political, educational, or employment relationships, or expecting to receive such power or authority in form of promotion. Forms of harassment relationships include the perpetrator can be anyone, such as a client, a coworker, a parent or legal guardian, relative, a teacher or professor, a student, a friend, or a stranger. The victim does not have to be the person directly harassed, but can be a witness of such behavior who finds the behavior offensive and is affected by it. The place of harassment occurrence may vary from school, university, workplace, and others. There may or may not be other witnesses or attendances. The perpetrator may be completely unaware that his or her behavior is offensive or constitutes sexual harassment, or may be completely unaware that his or her actions could be unlawful. The incident can take place in situations in which the harassed person may not be aware of or understand what is happening. The incident may be one-time occurrence, but more often it has a type of repetitiveness. Adverse effects on the target are common in the form of stress and social withdrawal, sleep and eating difficulties, overall health impairment, and etc. The victim and perpetrator can be any gender. The perpetrator does not have to be of the opposite sex.